all the nights I tried to quit, but the fire in my chest keeps dragging me right back to it. The slide guitar is moaning like it's begging for relief, while the shadows on the counter trace the outline of my grief. The bartender see me falling from 1,000 different heights, pouring mercy by the ounce through all my slow and ruined nights. If redemption ever found me, it got lost along the way, 'cause the blues keeps calling louder than the promises I pray. Ashes on the bar, burning like a dying flame. Every spark of broken memory whispering my name. If the truth comes down to choices, then I chose a falling star, and I've scattered all that's left of me like ashes on the bar. My hands are shaking steady, like a man who knows he's done, like I gambled something sacred and the devil said he won. There's a tremble in my voice that wasn't there a year ago, but the whiskey fills the cracks where all the weaker parts still show. The harmonica is crying like a widow at a wake, and the drummer taps a heartbeat only regret knows how to make. I keep looking for forgiveness in the bottom of this glass, but I find another version of the future I let pass. Ashes on the bar, drifting with the quiet air. Every piece of what I lost is still sitting right there. If the night could grant me mercy, it would meet me where we are, trying hard to gather what remains beneath the scars. Let the strings confess my story, let the dust reclaim my pride. Pour the night a little stronger, let the past stop asking why. Ashes on the bar, blowing faintly in the night, like reminders of the moments I was too afraid to fight. If tomorrow comes to find me, let it find me as I are, just a man among his shadows, laying ashes on the bar. whiskey knows the shape my soul collapsed in. Saw the moment when my breath grew sharp and every truth sank thin. My voice crossed rough and trembling like a vow that came undone. And the blues sits at my elbow like a ghost who never won. The bartender keeps staring like he's watching time reverse, seeing echoes in my posture that I never learned to nurse. If forgiveness meets the ruins where my pain's been settling, it will taste the quiet outline where my soul first folded in. The whiskey knows the shape my soul collapsed in, deep and slow. Every drop a faded picture of the man I used to know. If tomorrow shines a softness where my heart won't feel so thin, let it heal the crooked shadow where my soul once caved within. The slide guitar sighs gentle like it's mourning in my chest, drawing shapes of faded heartache in the pulse I can't arrest. The bass hums low and heavy like a truth too big to hide, while the drums tap faint reminders of the sins I left inside. Her name slides through my memory like the edge of something real, and I feel it claw my conscience with a tenderness I feel. If the dawn sees all the tremors I've been drowning in my skin, it'll read the fragile shape where my soul once caved within. Knows the shape my soul collapsed in, bare and raw. Every echo in my chest a wound the darkness learned to draw. If redemption pulls me gently from the place I've sunken in, let it light the broken cradle where my soul once folded thin. The whiskey knows the shape my soul collapsed in, truth revealed. Let the morning warm the corners I'd forgotten how to feel. If salvation meets me softened where the night begins to spin, let it bless the place I shattered when my soul first caved within. down deep. See the shadows in my footsteps when the ghosts won't let me sleep. My voice crawls low and hollow like a hymn that lost its flame, and the blues sits in the doorway whispering pieces of my name. The bartender glances over like he's heard this tale too long, seeing sorrow in the silence where I pretend to be strong. If forgiveness follows moonlight where old truths turn cold and blurry, it'll find the things I hid, all I tried my best to bury. The moon knows what I've tried to bury, soft but clear. Every crater holds a secret I've been drowning year to year. If tomorrow shines redemption where my darker truths might hurry, let it lift the weight I've carried in the thing I tried to bury. The slide guitar bends gently like it's learning how I ache, drawing lines along the failures I keep trying not to wait. The bass hums deep and present like a truth too big to hide, while the drums tap frightened rhythms of the guilt I push aside. Her memory floats near me like a lantern on the tide, glowing faint around the secrets that I keep half crucified. If the dawn could see the ruins where my shame has made a quarry, it would read the buried stories that the moon recalls with glory. The moon knows what I've tried to bury, every part, every silence in my breathing holds a tremor of my heart. If redemption calls me upward through the dirt I can't unbury, let it sift the bones of sorrow from the truths I helped interrogate. It's true, let the morning expose gently what the darkness always knew. If salvation shines its lantern through the soil where I grew weary, let it bless the broken pieces I was too afraid to bury. Where the sand meets bourbon, echoes in the night, and the stars hang overhead like they're too tired for the fight. My voice rose through the stillness like a whisper left behind, tracing heartbreak through the desert where the dust rewrites the mind. The slide guitar reminds me
of a truth I couldn't tame, and the blues comes walking slowly like it's looking for my name. If forgiveness had a shadow, it would move the way I feel, crawling through the desert silence where the wounds don't fully heal. Sand and bourbon echoes drifting where my fears survive. Every note a wind-blown promise that I barely keep alive. If tomorrow brings redemption, let it cross these empty meadows, where I'm wandering in the quiet of the sand and bourbon echo. My footprints fade behind me like a past I can't defend, while the bass begins its heartbeat, steady low and near the end. The drummer taps a warning, like he's cautious with my pain, and the harmonica comes sighing like a soft and distant rain. A shadow of a memory moves across the battered sky, of a man who said he loved me, then forgot to tell me why. But the desert doesn't argue, it just holds what no one knows. And I'm held inside the echo where the whiskey slowly glows.
Sand and bourbon echoes carrying what I can't say. Every ghost I lost in daylight finds his voice along the way. If the dawn begins to shimmer, let it warm these weary throats. In the whispers of the canyon where the bourbon echo flows. Sand and bourbon echoes linger where my heartbeat stays, till the storm inside my chest begins to loosen from its ways. If salvation finds me someday, let it rise where sunset goes.
Through the quiet, through the shadows,
in those sand and bourbon echoes. singing low inside my bones. Every voice a quiet echo from the nights I spent alone. The slide guitar is mourning like a proud without a name, and the blues keeps creeping through me like a slow and quiet flame. My shadow on the table looks much older than I feel, like the years have taken mercy while they stripped away what's real. If the truth had something better, it ain't ever come my way. So I learned to live with silence in the corners where I stay. In this cold room choir, every ghost has got a tune, and they sing it soft and steady 'neath the watchful hollow moon. If salvation had a whisper, it would drown beneath the fire of the lonely hymns I'm humming with this cold room choir. Lord tender leaves me space, like he can hear what I can't say. Knows the blues has carved its gospel in the lines I wear today. The harmonica is distant, like a warning in the rain. Then it trembles through the rafters like a shadow dragged by pain. I'm a stranger to forgiveness, though I chase it every night, pouring truth into the darkness till it burns out all the light. If tomorrow gives me comfort, let it meet me where I've been, with a voice among the silence singing sorrow like him. In this cold room choir, every memory has a voice, and they echo through the whiskey like they never had a choice. If redemption never calls me, let it linger and conspire with the broken songs I'm singing in this cold room choir. Let the night undo my secrets, let the quiet keep me warm, sing me low into the morning, through the calm before the storm. just a whisper in the darkness, trying hard to stay the same. If the dawn decides to find me, let it rise a little higher, till it drowns the fading sorrow of this cold room choir. In this cold room choir. His voice cracks where the honest begins, right between the wounded memories and the counting of his sins. My own breath joins a tremble like it's begging for release, and the blues leans in to hold me while I try to talk of peace. The bartender knows the cadence of a man about to break, sees the tension in my knuckles, hears the truths I can't forsake. If forgiveness hears the fracture in the words I can't rescind, it'll know my voice is shaking where my honesty begins. His voice cracks where the honesty begins. Bare and real, every vowel dipped in memories I never learned to heal. If tomorrow brings me clearer through the pain I can't defend, let it bless the subtle breaking where the honesty begins. The slide guitar bends slow like it's teaching me to hate, drawing maps across the parts of me I swore I'd never break. The bass hums deep and patient like a witness standing tall, while the drums tap bruised confessions down the cracks along the wall. Her name rises from my throat like a truth I swore to keep, and I hear it fall to pieces like a promise cut too deep. If the dawn sees every fracture that the night refused to mend, it'll hear the way my voice cracks where the honesty begins. His voice cracks where the honesty begins. Cold as stone, every syllable a tremor of the feelings I postpone. If redemption hears the whisper that I'm scared to comprehend, let it meet the lonely tremble where the honesty begins. Cracks where the honesty begins. Soft and late, let the morning carry gently what the night asked me to stay. Salvation reads a shivers where I break but still contend. Let it hold the quiet places where the honesty begins.
There's a slow fire in the back room where my stories like to hide, where the heat curls through the shadows like a promise left at night. My voice slips through the embers with a quiet, smoky tone, like I'm speaking for the pieces of the woman I outgrew alone. The slide guitar comes creeping like a whisper on the flame, and the blues settles beside me like it knows me by my name. If redemption has a corner in this room of muted scars, it's the glow behind the fire where I trace my broken stars. A slow fire in the back room, burning softer than my pain. Every spark a small confession I've been scared to say again. If tomorrow brings me courage, let it rise through soot and bloom, till it warms the quiet corners of this slow fire in the back room. The bartender takes his time, like he's weighing every pour, like he knows the heat behind me is a truth I can't ignore. The bass keeps humming steady like a lullaby for scars, and the guitar pulls down the ceiling with its long and aching bars. There's a memory beside me that the flames refuse to drown, of a man who held me gently just before he let me down. If the night could hold my shadow, it would tuck away the gloom, but it dances with my sorrow in this slow fire in the back room. A slow fire in the back room, writing stories on my skin, every flicker like a warning of the truth I hold within. If the daylight ever finds me, let it chase away the doom, but tonight I'll warm my heart beside this slow fire in the back room. A slow fire in the back room, glowing soft beneath the lights. Let it guide the broken pieces through the long and quiet sighs. If redemption ever seeks me, let it walk into the room where I'm waiting in the embers of this slow fire in the back room.
There's a crack in the hallway light that spills across my shoes. like a spotlight on the pieces of the man I stand to lose. The bass hums low behind me, like a thought I can't escape, and the shadows keep on stretching, like they're trying to match my shape. My voice is barely steady, but it's honest when it breaks, like the truth is set on surface by the choices no one makes. If forgiveness had a doorway, I'd be standing in its glow, but I'm drowning in the hallway light that shows what I don't show. Drowning in the hallway light, seeing who I've come to be. Every flicker holds a story that was never meant for me. If redemption starts at sunrise, I'll be lost before it's bright, 'cause tonight I'm sinking deeper in the hallway light. The slide guitar moans softly, like a warning in the dark, and it echoes every failure that has left its quiet mark. The drums come in so gently, like they fear they'll make me fall, and the room grows small around me, like a half-remembered call. A photograph that haunts me lies awake inside my chest, of a man I thought I'd turn into, but never reached his best. If tomorrow finds me empty, let it meet me out of sight, where I'm drowning in the shadows of the hallway light. Drowning in the hallway light, hearing truths I keep inside, seeing ghosts beneath the rafters where my younger self once tried. If the dawn begins to question what I lost along the fight, let it whisper to the quiet in the hallway light. Watching moments rearrange, every glow a soft reminder of the parts I couldn't change. If the morning comes to find me, let it guide me back to right, but for now I'm drifting slowly in the hallway light. There's dust on the strings, there's odor than the stories in my chest, and the slide cuts through the silence like a truth I can't suppress. The bar is barely breathing, just a hum of broken nights, where the shadows keep their distance from the thin and tilted lights. I trace the past in circles through the bottom of this glass, hear the echoes of a failure I could never quite surpass. If forgiveness had a doorway, it's a place I never found, just a road that keeps on wandering through the outskirts of this town. Dust on the string, humming out the years I lost, every note a quiet reckoning, every memory a cost. If redemption starts in whispers, let it whisper through these things as I bleed another story through the dust upon the strings. The bartender looks tired, like he's lived 1,000 lives, pouring truth in little measures just to help a soul survive. The drummer taps in gently, like he's careful with my pain, and the bass rolls like a thunder that the night can't quite contain. There's a woman in a memory that the music pulls apart, like the slide guitar is digging out the splinters in my heart. And I feel the room grow quiet as the song begins to swell, like the blues found out my weakness and decided not to tell. Dust on the strings, singing what my voice won't say, pulling ghosts from every corner, laying sorrow on display. If tomorrow brings me mercy, let it wash these fragile things till there's nothing left but ashes and the dust upon the strings. Dust on the strings, tell the night I'm holding on to the little bit of truth that hasn't vanished in the dawn. If the darkness keeps me honest, let it cling to what it brings. I'll keep singing through the heartache and the dust upon the strings. He walks like a man who outlived his own story, bearing chapters on his shoulders, full of heartbreak, pain, and glory. My own breath feels the tremor in his slow and heavy stride, and the blues steps down beside him like a friend he never lied. The bartender gives a nod like he knows the kind of man, one whose past sits in the doorway, waiting nightly where he ran. If forgiveness walks behind him, where his memories grow gory, it'll read the miles he's carrying like pages of a story. He walks like a man who outlived his own story, so worn thin, every step a quiet whisper of the worlds he's buried in. If tomorrow lifts the burden of the things he can't restore, let it write a gentler chapter than the one he walked before. The slide guitar cries weary like a road that lost its shine, marking wounds along the timeline of a man left undefined. The bass hums low and patient, like a truth that won't let go, while the drums keep steady time for all the weight he learned to tow. Her name floats through the silence like a memory unsealed, and I watch him shrink beneath it like a scar that won't be healed. If the dawn could see the ruin of the corners he's not sure, it would know he walks in pieces through the life he can't endure. He walks like a man who outlived his own story, lost and tired, every breath a small reminder of the love he once desired. If redemption brings him mercy from the ghosts he's walked before, let it teach him to step lighter than the weight his past employed. Outlived his own story, still he tries. Let the morning catch the fragments where his broken spirit lies. If salvation meets him gently at the chapter he'll restore, let it write a softer ending than the one he lived before. Blue velvet ashes on the table where I sit, like reminders of a fire that I never could admit. My voice drifts through the quiet like a ribbon torn in two, painting sorrow on the floorboards in a tender shade of blue. The slide guitar responds gently, like it knows the way I break, as it wraps around my secrets with a mercy few can take. If the truth is soft edges, if forgiveness had a tune, I would hum it through the darkness like a fragile afternoon. Blue velvet ashes falling where the silence keeps every ember like a memory that the whiskey never sweeps. If tomorrow brings me healing, let it wait until it passes through the choir where I'm gathering these blue velvet ashes. Bartender wipes the counter like he's polishing the past, and the blues hangs in the doorway where my innocence was cast. My heart is like a lantern that's been dimmed by too much rain, but the glow inside still flickers through the corners of my pain. A laugh I used to cherish echoes soft across the air, like a ghost made out of perfume, made of longing, made of prayer. And I feel the night grow darker as a memory crashes, like a shadow falling silent in these blue velvet ashes. Blue velvet ashes gather softly at my feet, everyone a small confession from the parts I can't defeat. If the wind begins to tremble, let it carry what it catches, till I'm lighter than the weight of all these blue velvet ashes. Whisper truths I couldn't say, let the night rewrite the moments that I let slip far away. If the dawn decides to know me, let it do so in flashes, as I rise up from the embers of these blue velvet ashes. with the man I used to be. Calling out across the highway like they're asking after me. My voice grinds low and ragged like the wheels that lost their track, and the blues rides in the distance, shouting truths that pull me back. The bartender reads my posture like a map that's worn to dust, seeing journeys in my silence caused by fate I didn't trust. If forgiveness walks the roadside where my shadow learned to flee, it'll hear the mouth still whisper of the man I used to be. The mouth still echoes with the man I used to be. Long dead. Every footstep here's a memory I keep locked beneath my skin. If tomorrow gives me reason to unroll my history, let it hush the angry mouth still echoing of me. The slide guitar hums distant like a desert stretching wide, drawing serpents through my ribcage where old ghosts refuse to hide. The bass hums deep and thundered like a storm too weak to rain, while the drums beat time for footsteps marching circles round my pain. Her voice blows through the highway like a breeze of what I lost, and I feel it crack my conscience like I can't afford the cost. If the dawn reveals the distance of the man I couldn't free, it'll hear the fading echo of the man I used to be. The miles still echo with the man I used to be. Every whisper on the blacktop marks the grief I try to mourn. If redemption walks beside me through the roads I failed to see, let it calm the restless echo of the man I used to be. The miles still echo with the man I used to be, but I'd rather let the morning clear the shadows cast across my fragile tie. If salvation finds a traveler in the lines that carry me, let it soften every echo of the man I used to be. Whiskey knows the shape my soul collapsed in. Saw the moment when my breath grew sharp and every truth sang thin. My voice crawls rough and trembling like a vow that came undone, and the blue sits at my elbow like a ghost who never won. bartender keeps staring like he's watching time reverse, seeing echoes in my posture that I never learned to nurse. If forgiveness meets the ruins where my pain's been settling, it will taste the quiet outline where my soul first folded in. Shape my soul, collapsed in deep and slow. Every drop a faded picture of the man I used to know. If tomorrow shines a softness where my heart won't feel so thin, let it heal the crooked shadow where my soul once caved within. Slide guitar sighs gentle like it's moaning in my chest, drawing shapes of faded heartache in the pulse I can't arrest. The bass hums low and heavy like a truth too big to hide, while the drums tap faint reminders of the sins I left inside. Her name slides through my memory like the edge of something real, and I feel it claw my conscience with a tenderness I feel. If the dawn sees all the tremors I've been drowning in my skin, it'll read the fragile shape where my soul once caved within. The whiskey knows the shape my soul collapsed in, bare and raw. Every echo in my chest, a wound the darkness learned to draw. If redemption pulls me gently from the place I've sunken in, let it light the broken cradle where my soul once folded thin. My soul collapsed in truth revealed. Let the morning warm the corners I'd forgotten how to feel. The salvation meets me soften where the night begins to spin. Let it bless the place I shattered when my soul first caved within. Lanterns at closing time flicker soft against the wall, casting shadows that remember every rise and every fall. My voice slips through the silence like a whisper dressed in blue. 'Cause these stories that I'm holding are too heavy to undo.
The slide guitar beside me sighs exactly what I mean, tracing heartbreak in a language that remains forever seen. If the truth could find direction in the smoke that fills this place, it would follow every teardrop down the corners of my face. Lanterns at closing time,
hold me while the night grows thin. Let the music keep me steady when the world starts closing in. If tomorrow comes with mercy, let it wait until I climb through the fog of all my memories, these lanterns at closing time. The bartender knows better than to ask where I've been hid. Sees the tremble in my fingers that the whiskey never rid. Every chord the pianist offers feels like mercy in disguise, like a promise from the darkness that the dawn won't criticize.
my heart's a worn-out journal with its pages torn and stained, filled with battles that I fought alone and losses unexplained.
If forgiveness has a rhythm, it's the one I can't rehearse.
But the blues keep spinning comfort through the verses of my curse. Lanterns at closing time
Flicker
where my fears align. Every glow a small confession I could never quite define.
If the night could hold me closer, I'd surrender every line to the warmth that gently settles
Through these lanterns at closing time. Keep your gentle watch on me
till the
sunlight dulls the echoes of the ghost I set free.
If the dawn begins its climb, let it rise on its own time.
I'll be resting in the ember of these lanterns at closing time.
My shadows sits closer to me than my faith does, watching every shaky breath I take and every truth I push, because my voice grades low and honest, like a man who's lost his ground, and the blues sits down beside me like a weight I never found. The bartender gives a nod, like he knows the kind of fight, one where faith gets lost in darkness while the shadows grip you tight. If forgiveness walks the line between the doubt I built above us, it'll find my shadow sitting closer than the faith that's supposed to love us. My shadow sits closer to me than my faith does, bare and strong, every whisper holding pieces of the things I've held too long. If tomorrow gives me courage when the past turns poisonous, let it place my faith beside me where the shadow always was. The slide guitar bleeds slowly, like it's mourning in refrain, tracing quiet crooked halos through the dust around my shame. The bass hums deep and bitter, like a truth I never speak, while the drums tap out the downfall of a heart that's growing weak. Her memory hangs heavy, like a sermon gone astray, and it cracks the fragile places where my faith got torn away. If the dawn restores the balance in the soul I can't discuss, it'll move my shadow over and bring faith back next to us. My shadow sits closer to me than my faith does, cold and near, every moment filled with echoes of the doubts I hold in fear. If redemption meets me tender where my broken thoughts combust, let it shift the shadow sideways, keep my faith from turning dust. My shadow sits closer to me than my faith does, but I pray, let the morning lift the burdens that have kept my hope at bay. If salvation hears me whisper in the quiet of my flaws, let it bring my faith beside me where my shadow always was. like a man who outlived his own story, bearing chapters on his shoulders full of heartbreak, pain, and glory. My own breath feels a tremor in his slow and heavy stride, and the blues steps down beside him like a friend he never lied. The bartender gives a nod like he knows a kind man, one whose past sits in the doorway waiting nightly where it ran. If forgiveness walks behind him where his memories grow gory, it'll read the miles he's carrying like pages of a story. He walks like a man who outlived his own story, so worn thin, every step a quiet whisper of the worlds he's buried in. If tomorrow lifts the burden of the things he can restore, let it write a gentler chapter than the one he walked before. Like guitar cries weary, like a road that lost its shine, marking wounds along the timeline of a man left undefined. The bass hums low and patient, like a truth that won't let go, while the drums keep steady time for all the weight he learned to tow. Her name floats through the silence like a memory unsealed, and I watch him shrink beneath it like a scar that won't be healed. If the dawn could see the ruin of the corners he's not sure, it would know he walks in pieces through the life he can endure. He walks like a man who outlived his own story, lost in time. Every breath a small reminder of the love he once desired. If redemption brings him mercy from the ghost he's walked before, let it teach him to step lighter than the weight his past implored. Walks like a man who outlived his own story, still he tries. Let the morning catch the fragments where his broken spirit lies. If salvation meets him gently at the chapter he'll restore, let it write a softer ending than the one he lived before. He left his sins in the dust behind his boots, kicked them quiet toward the sunset like old memories in cahoots. My voice grinds rough and heavy like a storm that's lost its path, and the blues walks right beside me, whispering echoes of the wrath. The bartender eyes the doorway like he's wondering where I've been, seeing dirt baked in my breathing from a trail of ancient sin. If forgiveness rides the desert where my conscience still disputes, it'll meet the sins I scattered in the dust behind my boots. He left his sins in the dust behind his boots, bare and raw, every footprint holding secrets only time could ever thaw. If tomorrow catches up to what the nightlight still imputes, let it clear the weight I buried in the dust behind my boots. The slide guitar hums lonely like a wind across the plains, drawing lines along the landscapes where I hid my quiet pains. The bass rolls slow and weathered like the earth beneath my feet, while the drums tap out a heartbeat I can't keep in proper beat. Her name floats through the sand like it's been losing its own home, and I hear it break in fragments every mile that I roam. If the dawn finds all the pieces of the man the night salutes, it'll read the scattered truth left in the dust behind my boots. He left his sins in the dust behind his boots, worn and gray, every step a tired confession that I'm running still today. If redemption sweeps the desert clean of all my past disputes, let it free the ghost I planted in the dust behind my boots. His sins in the dust behind his boots, and I'm next. Let the morning piece together what I've lost and what comes next. If salvation walks beside me through the dirt my pain pollutes, let it cleanse the miles I've carried and the dust behind my boots. He hides his hope where the whiskey won't look, tucked between the broken chapters of a half-forgotten book. My voice comes rough and weathered like a page that's come unturned, and the blues leans close to watch me like a witness to my scorn. The bartender knows the pattern of a man who's hanging on, seeing hope tucked deep in shadows where my faith's been nearly gone. If forgiveness flips the pages where my better days were shook, It'll find a hope I buried where the whiskey wouldn't look. He hides his hope where the whiskey won't look, thin and small. Every swallow drowning pieces of the man before the fall. If tomorrow lends me courage that the night refused to brook, let it lift the fragile glimmer where the whiskey wouldn't look. The slide guitar sighs gently like a promise kept in dust, tracing quiet silver linings in a heart afraid to trust. The bass hums low and steady like a truth too soft to claim, while the drums tap out reminders of the things I failed to name. Her voice floats in the silence like a spark that won't let die, and I feel it shake the liquor with a hope I can't deny. If the dawn shines down forgiveness on the chances I forsook, it'll see the hope I'm hiding where the whiskey doesn't look. He hides his hope where the whiskey won't look, deep but near. Every tremor in my breathing shows the faith I hold in fear. If redemption meets me gentle where my secrets overflow, let it find the hope I'm keeping in the places whiskey won't go. Where the whiskey won't look, still he tries. Let the morning warm the corners I've been covering with lies. If salvation lifts the sorrow that the nighttime overlooks, let it free the hope I save where the whiskey wouldn't look. These hollow floors remember every weight I tried to hide, every footstep that I carried when my hope had slowly died. The piano keeps on humming like it knows the way I feel, playing chords that sound like promises I never kept for real. The bass slides in behind it with a heartbeat slow and deep, and I swear the room gets colder when my memories start to creep. If the truth could find a melody that matched the way I fall, it would sound like this old piano painting stories on the wall. The hollow floor blues echo with the life I blurred, every note a quiet confession of a truth I never heard. If regret had any mercy, it would rise and let me choose, but it keeps me where I'm standing in these hollow floor blues. Bartender wipes a glass like he's been doing it for years, never rushing, never speaking, just a witness to my fears. The slide guitar sighs softly like a friend who understands, and the drummer taps a rhythm made for warm and weathered hands. I feel the room grow smaller as the sorrow settles in, like the shadows took position where my soul has always been. If redemption has a lantern, it's too dim for me to see, but the blues keeps burning steady through the cracks inside of me. Hollow floor blues haunt me like a faithful ghost, singing truths I should've listened to before I lost the most. If tomorrow brings forgiveness, I might finally break the news, but tonight I'm drowning deeper beneath hollow floor blues. Hollow floor blues wrap around me while I fade. Let the sound of all my failings fill the silence that I made. If the dawn comes calling early, let it pass without a clue. I'll be somewhere in the shadows of these hollow floor blues.
The night carries my name like a wound that won't heal, whispering every broken truth I've spent my life trying to conceal. My voice rolls low and heavy like a rope that's soaked in rain, and the blues sits down beside me like it recognizes pain. The bartender cuts a glass like it knows the cracks I bear, seeing stories in my breathing I ain't strong enough to share. If forgiveness walks the darkness where my memories congeal, it'll hear the night reciting every wound I can't conceal. The night carries my name like a wound that won't heal, slow and tight, every whisper from the shadow chasing me throughout the night. If tomorrow wipes the bloodstains from the truths I can't repeal, let it soften all the places where my wounds refuse to heal. The slide guitar cries softly like it's echoing my scar, drawing shapes across the quiet where my faults and failings are. The bass hums deep and mournful like a truth that weighs too large, while the drums knock gentle patterns like a ghost that's still in charge. Her shadow shakes my conscience like a lesson left undone, and I feel it on my heartbeat like a bullet never run. If the dawn reads through the fractures time refused to help congeal, it'll know my name is carried like a wound that won't reveal. The night carries my name like a wound that won't heal, raw and near, every tremor in my breathing tied to someone I revere. If redemption meets me ragged where my faults and fears appeal, let it lift the name the night keeps holding like a wound unhealed. my name like a wound that won't heal. Still it does. Let the morning show me mercy. I've forgotten how to trust. If salvation meets my shadow, where the pain becomes too real, let it bless the broken name. The night refuses to let heal. Follows me like smoke, curling quiet through the corners where my better days broke. My voice drags low and warm like a rope that's pulled too tight, and the blues hangs on my shadow like it's claiming me tonight. The bartender wipes the counter like he's heard the truth before, seeing ashes in my breathing that I keep behind the door. If forgiveness rises gentle where the guilt begins to choke, it'll meet the weight I carry, following me here like smoke. The weight of my name follows me like smoke, soft but sure. Every whisper of my past still drifting where I'm not secure. If tomorrow takes the burden of the sins I can't revoke, let it clear the air that's haunted, made of memories and smoke. The slide guitar sighs heavy like it knows my troubled mind, tracing circles round the stories I've been running from behind. The bass hums thick and steady like a truth too large to flee, while the drums knock faint reminders of the man I couldn't be. Her voice floats through the darkness like a ghost I can't forget, and I smell the embered echoes of the night we both regret. If the dawn burns off the sorrow with a light I can't provoke, it'll show the outline following of a name turned into smoke. The weight of my name follows me like smoke, thin and warm. Every breath a quiet signal of a world I can't adorn. If redemption clears the air around the lies I once bespoke, let it lift the haze I'm living in, built heavy out of smoke. The weight of my name follows me like like smoke all night long. Let the morning split the shadows where I finally belong. If salvation meets me clearer than the ashes I evoke, let it free the man who's followed by the weight he made of smoke. I'm miles from my own name, wandering roads that never end, where the stories that I carry way too heavy to defend. The guitar starts humming gently like a friend I used to trust, while the miles behind me settle into quiet, shapeless dust. The bar is like a refuge for the men who lost their way, where the blues paints every silence in 100 shades of gray. If redemption had a footstep, it'd be somewhere close behind. But I'm running from the truth I never found the strength to find. Whoa, miles from my own name, drifting far from who I was. Every highway keeps on asking why I left and what it does. If forgiveness waits in shadows, I might greet it all the same. But tonight I'm nothing more than miles from my own name. The drummer taps a heartbeat, steady, tired, worn out then, and the harmonica sighs softly like it knows where I have been. My voice cracks like an old floorboard where the secrets settle deep, and the memories I buried are the ones I couldn't keep. There's a woman in the distance with a ghost inside her smile, and she haunts the quiet corners of each half-abandoned mile. If she ever hears my story, she might pity where I roam. But a man who's lost his name can't ever claim a place called home. Whoa, miles from my own name, wondering where the shadows stay. Every choice becomes a landmark for the roads I walked away. If the night reveals my failures, let it do so without shame, 'cause I'm still trying to stop being miles from my own name. If the dawn decides to find me, let it search without a claim. For tonight I'm just a stranger, miles from my own name.
There's a tremble in my whiskey as the night begins to fade, and the shadows in the glass start showing choices I made. The slide guitar comes in behind me like it knows just where I've been, tracing echoes of the sins I swore I'd never taste again. This bar has kept my secrets buried deep beneath this floor. Every stool a little witness to the things I can't ignore. If confession had a flavor, it would taste like bitter rye, burning holes into the silence. Every time I try to lie, there are shadows in the glass, dancing slow across my pain. Every swirl another story that my soul can't quite explain. If the truth could find a rhythm, it would fall right into place, leaving fingerprints of sorrow on the edges of my face. Shadows in the glass, taking up my space. My heartbeat sounds like footsteps from a life I left behind, but the blues keeps pulling memories from the corners of my mind. That one in the doorway was a storm I couldn't tame. Now her ghost sits in my whiskey, whispering gently through my shame. The guitarist bends a note that cuts me deeper than her words, while the drummer taps a heartbeat only broken men have heard. And I feel the night collapse beneath the weight of what I've done, like the darkness took my choices, and the choices always won. There are shadows in the glass, telling truths I never speak. Every sip becomes a sermon that grows louder every week. If tomorrow brings redemption, let it wait another night, 'cause I'm drowning in the flicker of this dim and borrowed light. and they know me far too well. They remember every story that I never choose to tell. If the dawn comes sharp and certain, let it rise without me here. Shadows in the glass keep me company, my dear.
The night took my voice before I spoke the truth, left me clinging to the shadows where I dragged my wounded youth. My voice breaks warm and hollow like a storm inside my chest, and the blues leans close to whisper all the things I can't confess. The bartender doesn't ask, but he knows a man undone, sees the courage lost in silence when the dark outruns the sun. If forgiveness finds me speechless in the lies the night uncooled, it'll hear the stolen words I meant to speak, simple truth. The night took my voice before I spoke the truth, soft and low. Every heartbeat held a secret I was too afraid to show. If tomorrow lets me speak the thing I thought I might outdo, let it warm the frozen spaces where my truth withdrew. The slide guitar moans quiet like a promise left unsaid, tracing tremors through my rib cage like the ghosts inside my head. The bass hums slow and steady like a grief too tired to hide. while the drums tap out a rhythm where my courage used to stride. Her name rises in my throat, but the night stamps out the flame, and I lose the quiet moment where my voice might claim her name. If the dawn restores the breathing that the midnight once subdued, it'll hear the truth still trembling where my voice came unpursued. The night took my voice before I spoke the truth, thin and warm. Every lie a silent fracture in the man I can't adorn. If redemption holds me steady when confession's overdue, let it carry what I swallowed when my voice withdrew. I took my voice before I spoke the truth. Yes, it's so. Let the morning gather courage from the parts I failed to show. If salvation hears me clearly where my fears began to brew, let it free the voice I lost when I meant to speak the truth.
Walks in like a whisper, floating through a midnight haze. Eyes full of quiet thunder, heart stuck in forgotten days. The band plays low behind her, like they know what she's been through, and the slide guitar is weeping like it's crying just for you. Her hands wrapped round a glass like she's afraid it might let go, and the smoke around her silence tells a story soft and slow. Every breath she takes is heavy with the weight of what she's lost. Every step she makes reminds her what that love had cost. There's smoke in her silence, burning like a memory, and the blues in her voice is the truth she lets you see. If heartbreak had a rhythm, she could play it in her sleep, leaving shadows in the corners where her secrets learn to keep. There's smoke in her silence, and it cuts in way too deep. There's smoke in her silence, and it's dancing with her pain. Every note a small confession that she never could explain. But she owns the night completely as her shadows intertwine. There's smoke in her silence, and it's heartbreak turned divine.
The blues pulled up a chair before I sat down, talking low like it remembered every stumble of my frown. My voice hit soft and splintered like a truth that aged too fast, and the night sits close beside me like a shadow from my past. The bartender just smirks like he's seen this scene before, watching sorrow take a seat before I even reach the door. If forgiveness hears the quiet that my guilt has come to crown, it'll meet the blues already sitting when I settle down. The blues pulled up a chair before I sat down, cold and keen. Every silence drawing pictures of the things I've never seen. If tomorrow shines a lantern where my broken thoughts resound, let it hush the blues that waited long before I came around. The slide guitar bends mournful like it's speaking for my bones, tracing lines along the heartache carved in whispers and in tones. The bass rolls low and steady like a truth that's here to stay, while the drums tap soft reminders of the words I can't relay. Her memory sits across me like a guest I didn't choose, and each breath I take reminds me of the battles I still lose. If the dawn walks in with mercy for the man that's halfway drowned, it'll see the empty seat that blues would fill before I sat down. The blues pulled up a chair before I sat down, bold and sure. Every moment I ignore it proves it's patient to endure. If redemption meets me ready where my fractured hopes unspool, let it ask the blues to rise and leave an empty stool. Pulled up a chair before I sat down, still it stays. Let the morning chase the shadows I've been wrestling for days. If salvation hears me speaking truths I barely dare to sound, let it take the chair the blues claim. Long gone before I sat down. Neon hum, buzz low and cold, a whiskey glass, my heart it holds. The ashes falling, the night's grown old. Midnight ashes burning slow, falling down where the shadows go. Can't stop the time, can't stop the flow. The smoke curls like a broken dream, lost in the jet, the longest dream. A bitter sip, life ain't what it seems. Oh, the hours whisper so, the hands won't let me go. can't stop the flow. Every note dreams like honey on fire. Every chord pulls me deeper, higher. The piano sighs, the guitar hums on, and I'm left here aching alone. The rain taps soft on the window pane, a whispered rhythm, a lover's refrain. The night so thick it could drown my name. A glass of amber, it holds my past. Each sip slower, shadows cast. The clock's not ticking, time moves fast. Pour me another, let it last. Midnight glass, midnight glass. The world spins slow, the die is cast. Midnight glass, midnight glass. The keys they linger, a mournful sigh. Guitar strings bending, they wonder why. And I'm stuck here, too tired to lie. Fingers trace the edge of pain, lost in echo, soaked in rain. Pour me another, let it last. Midnight glass, midnight glass. The world spins slow, the die is cast. Midnight glass, midnight glass. Chair beside me, sitting quiet like an old friend who's too stubborn to be free. My voice rolls rough and tight like a man far, and the blues takes up the space, like it's been living in this bar. The bartender nods at shadows like he knows what's in the room, watching honesty fall crooked where my courage meets its doom. If forgiveness sees the shape of what I've tried so hard to flee, it'll sit right where the truth leans, on the chair beside of me. The truth leans heavy on the chair beside me, bare warm. Every silence paints a memory of the man I've been since morn. If tomorrow hears me clearer than the lies I guarantee, let it lift the weight to settle on the chair beside of me. The slide guitar cries softly like it's trying not to break, drawing circles through the corners of the guilt I can't unmake. The bass hums deep and steady like a voice that won't relent, while the drums tap quiet patterns where my confessions all were spent. Her name slips in the air like it's been waiting for a sign, and I feel it shake my breathing like a truth that won't align. If the dawn reads through the story of the man I can't unsee, it'll stand beside the truth, leaning on the chair that's next to me. The truth leans heavy on the chair beside me, cold and near, every whisper dripping quiet with the things I won't reveal. If redemption lights a lantern on the pain I guarantee, let it warm the truth that lingers on the chair beside of me. Let the morning soothe the shadows I've been carrying for days. If salvation hears me whisper what I'm scared to let them see, let it share the weight of truth, sitting right beside of me. The bar light shows the scars I tried to drink away, painting ghosts across the counter. My courage went astray.
My voice cracks low and broken, like a vow I can't reclaim. And the blues sits down beside me, writing chapters in my name. The bartender sees right through me, like he stared at this before, watching shadows on my posture I've been keeping in the drawer. If forgiveness reads the bruises, carved where whiskey holds its sway, it'll see the scars I nurtured in the bar light's quiet ray. The bar light shows the scars I tried to drink away, bare and stark. Every line a crooked map that leads me deeper in the dark. If tomorrow shines a lantern where my guilt begins to fray, let it soothe the hidden wounds I've tried so hard to drink away. The slide guitar bends mournful, like an echo left to bleed, tracing truths along my ribcage where the night plants every seed. The bass hums deep and honest, like a man too tired to lie, while the drums tap out confessions that still tremble when I try. Her memory stings sharp like winter on a cut that's never healed, and I feel it rise in shadows I've been too afraid to yield. If the dawn reveals the damage that my drinks could not allay, it'll shine on scars I fostered in the bar light where I stay. The bar light shows the scars I tried to drink away, nothing spared. Every mark a quiet witness to the pain I never shared. If redemption takes my burden as I face another day, let it heal the trembling edges I once tried to drink away. I tried to drink away, God, it's true. Let the morning wash the shadows of the things I can't undo. Salvation finds the cracks within the man I still portray. Let it bless the wounds revealed that no drink could take away. The night
took my voice before I spoke the truth. Left me clinging to the shadows where I dragged my wounded youth. My voice breaks warm and hollow like a storm inside my chest, and the blues leans close to whisper all the things I can't confess. The bartender doesn't ask, but he knows a man undone sees the courage lost in silence when the dark outruns the sun. If forgiveness finds me speechless in the lies the night uncool, it'll hear the stolen words I meant to speak as simple truth. The night took my voice before I spoke the truth, soft and low. Every heartbeat held a secret I was too afraid to show. If tomorrow lets me speak the things I thought I might outdo, let it warm the frozen spaces where my truth withdrew. The slide guitar moans, quiet like a promise left unsaid, tracing tremors through my ribcage like the ghosts inside my head. The bass hums slow and steady like a grief too tired to hide, while the drums tap out a rhythm where my courage used to stride. Her name rises in my throat, but the night stamps out the flame, and I lose the quiet moment where my voice might claim her name. If the dawn restores the breathing that the midnight once subdued, it'll hear the truth still trembling where my voice came unpursued. The night took my voice before I spoke the truth, thin and warm. Every lie a silent fracture in the man I can't adorn. If redemption holds me steady when confession's overdue, let it carry what I swallowed when my voice withdrew. I spoke the truth, yes it's so. Let the morning gather courage from the parts I failed to show. If salvation hears me clearly where my fears began to brew, let it free the voice I lost when I meant to speak the truth.
There are whispers in the whiskey rain that fall against my skin, like the echoes of the secrets I have carried deep within. The harmonica is mourning like a story left untold, while the night collects my silence and the shadows growing cold. My voice betrays a tremble of a heart that lost its way, like a storm behind my ribs won't let the thunder fade away. If the rain could wash the memories that I never learned to face, it would leave me with a gentler version standing in my place. Whispers under whiskey rain, singing truths I can't contain. Every drop a soft confession, falling slow against the pain. If forgiveness starts with weather, let it break this wall of shame. While I'm hiding from myself beneath the whiskey rain. The bartender lights a candle like he's trying to warm the storm, and the slide guitar comes crawling like a hand that once was warm. The blues sits down beside me with a knowing kind of grace, as the shadows on the floorboard start to mirror my embrace. My reflection in the window looks like someone I once knew, someone braver, someone brighter, someone easier to undo. But the woman that I've turned into is carved from darker days, and tonight she lets the rain rewrite her edges in new ways. Whispers on the whiskey rain, trembling through my tired frame. If tomorrow brings me sunlight, I might learn to breathe again. But tonight I'm seeking shelter from the fire and the stain, in the arms of all these whispers under whiskey rain. Under whiskey rain, hold me while the night is alone. Let the storm rewrite my heartbeat to a quieter, safer song. If the dawn decides to find me, let it wash away the pain. 'Cause I'm learning how to listen under whiskey.
I've been burned down to the ember, where the truth can finally speak, where the whiskey tastes like memories and the nights run long and bleak. The harmonica still lingers with a cry I can't outrun, like a witness to the choices that the daylight comes undone. The slide guitar steps gently, like it's walking on my doubt, and the drums begin a heartbeat only sorrow soars out. If tomorrow brings me answers to the scars I try to hide, let it find me in the ashes where the fire used to reside. Down to the embers, glowing faint beneath the pain, barely holding on to warmth before the cold comes back again. If forgiveness has a fire, let it spark and catch December, 'cause I'm flickering in the darkness, burning down to the ember. Slow, like he's afraid I'll disappear, like the smoke around my shadows been collecting through the year. The blues has carved a chapter in the corners of my bones, where the verses keep returning like familiar undertones. I keep searching for a reason not to drown the night in flame, but the whiskey knows my secrets, and it calls them each by name. If the truth had any comfort, I would hold it close and tight, but the ember's glow is fragile in the middle of the night. Down to the ember, hold me while the hours fade, till the smoke becomes a shelter for the choices that I made. If tomorrow brings me mercy, let it warm what I remember, 'cause I'm tired of falling deeper, burning down to the ember. Down to the ember, barely breathing in the dark, still I cling to every flicker, like a worn out dying spark. If the dawn decides to find me, let it rise a little tender, while I lie among the ashes, burning down to the ember. She walks in like a whisper, floating through a midnight haze. Eyes full of quiet thunder, heart stuck in forgotten days. The band plays low behind her, like they know what she's been through. And the slide guitar is weeping, like it's crying just for you. Her hands wrapped around a glass, like she's afraid it might let go. And the smoke around her silence tells a story soft and slow. Every breath she takes is heavy with the weight of what she's lost. Every step she makes reminds her what that love had cost. The smoke in her silence, burning like a memory, and the blues in her voice is a truth she lets you see. If heartbreak had a rhythm, she could play it in her sleep, leaving shadows in the corners where her secrets learn to keep. The smoke in her silence, and it cuts in way too deep. The bartender keeps watching, knows exactly why she's here, knows the stories in her footsteps and the ones she hides in fear. She ain't asking for forgiveness, ain't expecting second tries, just a night to hold together what tomorrow will disguise. The guitar swells up behind her, spilling sorrow on the stage, and her voice comes like a whisper, born from heartbreak and from rage. If you listen close enough, you'll hear her pass beneath the chords, where the promises were broken long before she drew her sword. There's smoke in her silence, drifting like a morning hymn, and the light behind her shadow flickers low and slowly dim. If tomorrow brings her mercy, she'll accept it if it comes. But tonight she pours her truth into the ache of quiet drums. Her voice trembles like a lantern in a storm she never chose, but she sings until the broken parts stop showing through her clothes. The smoke in her silence, and it's dancing with her pain. Every note a small confession that she never could explain, but she owns the night completely as the shadows intertwine. The smoke in her silence, and its heartbreak turned divine.
There's a tremble in the way behind my voice tonight, I swear, like it's dragging every memory through the smoke that fills the air. The guitar taps out a warning like a pulse I can't ignore, and the truth sits in my throat like it's been waiting at the door. My heartbeat sounds like footsteps from a life I left behind, and the blues cross through my chest like it's been reading through my mind. If forgiveness had a hallway where a man couldn't make a choice, I'd be searching through the shadows for the weight behind my voice. The weight behind my voice is heavier than what I've lost. Every word a quiet bargain that I struggle with the cost. If redemption's in the distance, let it steady what is poised, 'cause tonight I feel the burden of the weight behind my voice. The slide guitar begins to cry like it's confessing every sin, and the bass rolls like a whisper that's been gathering within. The bartender knows the tremble when a man has had enough, and he pours a little deeper when the truth comes out too rough. A photograph inside my pocket burns a hole beneath my hand, like a chapter left unfinished from a book I couldn't stand. If tomorrow gives me courage, I might rise up with the noise, but tonight I'm drowning slowly in the weight behind my voice. The weight behind my voice, echoing the roads I chose, every failure, every secret, in the sound of what I froze. If the dawn brings revelation, let it shape another choice, till I find a gentler truth beneath the weight behind my voice. Behind my voice, let it tremble till I heal. Let the night reveal the stories that the whiskey helped conceal. If redemption ever hears me, let it listen past the noise to the quiet man still searching in the way behind his voice. neon hum buzzed low and cold. A whiskey glass, my heart it holds, ashes falling. The night's grown old, midnight ashes burning slow, falling down where the shadows go. Can't stop the time, can't stop the flow. The smoke curls like a broken dream, lost in the jet. The longest dream, a bitter sip. Life ain't what it seems. Oh, the hours whisper so, their hands won't let me go. Midnight ashes burning slow, falling down where the shadows go. Can't stop the time, can't stop the flow. Like honey on fire, every chord pulls me deeper, higher. The piano sighs, the guitar hums on, and I'm left here aching alone. Tap soft on the window pane, a whispered rhythm, a lover's refrain. The night so thick it could drown my name. A glass of amber, it holds my past. Each sip slower, shadows cast. The clock's not ticking, time moves fast. Pour me another, let it last. Midnight glass, midnight glass. The world spins slow, the die is cast. Midnight glass, midnight glass. The keys they linger, a mournful sigh. Guitar strings bending, they wonder why. And I'm stuck here too tired to lie. Fingers trace the edge of pain, lost in echoes, soaked in rain. Pour me another, let it last. Midnight glass, spin slow, the die is cast. Midnight glass, midnight lights up the moment that the slide guitar cuts in, and the crowd leans off their bar stools like they're ready to begin. I've been drinking down my worries, chasing ghosts around the floor, till the blue sparks up inside me like a storm I can't ignore. Let my boots tap out a warning, yeah, the night's about to break, and the rhythm in my heartbeat knows exactly what's at stake. There's a fire in the liquor and a truth beneath the flame, and the bar stool lightning hits me when I hear them call my name. Bar stool lightning, strike me where the shadows wait, set my voice on fire, let my heartbeat elevate. If redemption's in the rafters, let it fall on me tonight, 'cause I'm wrestling with the darkness till I drag it into light. Lost to lightning, hitting me when it's right. The harmonica is wailing like it's begging for release, and the bass is making promises it never plans to keep. The drummer taps a warning that the night won't end too soon, and the whiskey stains my conscience like the back end of a tune. I ain't running from my demons, they've been drinking here for years, but I learned to keep on playing through the rust and through the tears. If the blues is just a bargain with the truth you can't deny, then I'll sing it till it breaks me or it lifts me to the sky. Lost to lightning, lift me from the things I hide, shake the dust from all the corners where my better angels died. If the thunder follows after, let it rumble through my bones, 'cause I'm standing on the fault line where the hurt becomes my home. Lost to lightning, hit me one more time tonight. Let the blues burn off the shadows till the guilt turns into light. If tomorrow brings me sorrow, let it wait until the day. 'Cause tonight the bar stool lightning's gonna carry me away.
Where the low lights fall, I'm a shadow half awake, just a man inside the quiet with more choices left to make. The guitar hums like a lantern that is burned too dim to shine, and the truth sits in my whiskey like it's waiting for a sign. The night drips slow like honey from a bottle left to rest, and the slide guitar is reaching for the ache inside my chest. If redemption has a whisper, I've been listening through it all, but I've only heard my heartbeat where the low lights fall. Where the low lights fall, I'm a ghost of who I'm meant to be, holding tight to broken moments that refuse to set me free. If tomorrow writes an answer, let it hide behind the wall, 'cause tonight I'm just a shadow where the low lights fall. The bartender shakes his head like he's seen this all before, sees the stories in my footsteps as I walk across the floor. The blues keeps pulling memories I buried deep and raw, and the scars show through the cracks in every truth I thought I saw. A woman's laugh from long ago drifts across a faded room, like a flower pressed in silence that refused to fully bloom. And I feel her like a whisper that I never could recall, like a name the dark remembers where the low lights fall. Where the low lights fall, echoing the man I've been. Every chord, another chapter, I keep reading once again. If tomorrow brings salvation, let it hold me when I crawl. But tonight I'm staying right here where the low lights fall. Fall, let the quiet take its place in the corners of the barroom where I lost my younger face. If the dawn comes soft and tender, let it find me after all, resting with my shadows where the low lights fall. dust settles where my promises died, gathering quiet in the footprints where my better days once tried. My voice drags rough and weary, like a wheel that's lost its hold, and the blues wraps round my knuckles like a tale that's never told. The bartender's eyes go distant, like he's feeling what I said, knowing dust is just the memory of the things I left for dead. If forgiveness walks the desert where my truth got crucified, it'll find the dust still gathering where all my promises died. The dust settles where my promises died, low and slow, every grain a quieted witness to the things I couldn't show. If tomorrow lifts the ashes of the lies I used to hide, let it sweep the barren places where my promises have died. The slide guitar moans gently like a wind that's out of breath, drawing lines along the sorrow I've been dragging toward my death. The bass hums deep and hollow like a canyon filled with sin, while the drums tap faded echoes of the man I should have been. Her name rides on the dust like it's been waiting to be seen, and I hear it slip through sunlight like a ghost in smoky sheen. If the dawn could shine forgiveness on the fractures I've supplied, it would hear the desert murmur where my promises all died. The dust settles where my promises died, cruel but true, every whisper in the soil knows the heart I never grew. If redemption finds me kneeling in the dirt I can't outride, let it lift the weight of failing where my promises died. The dust settles where my promises died, quiet fate, let the morning warm the ruins where I still negotiate. If salvation walks beside me through the wasteland I abide, let it clear the dust of all the promises that die.